Hi, I'm David Pollandine and I'm the Director of Development for IJM Canada in the Prairies, and I'm back to share with you some COVID-19 updates and how IJM are continuing to protect people in poverty around the world even during these challenging days. Of course, we're doing that in three ways. First of all, it's an immediate response, helping people now in need because of COVID-19. Secondly, it's a near-term response, and that means we're putting on rescues as normal, rescuing victims of violence and restoring them from their situation and going after perpetrators. And thirdly, it's a long-term response, and that means it's business as usual, working with governments to protect the poor from violence around the world. So in just over a week, we have our Canada-wide online event, Cherished More Precious Than Gold, where we're looking at particularly aftercare of cybersex trafficked children in the Philippines. And I wondered what motivates us to go to an event like this. Why might we want to go and support an event like this? And so what I've done, I've asked my co-host, Marie Gomez from City News, Winnipeg, and one of our sponsors, Sean Humphreys, who's the CEO of Humphreys Wealth Group here in Winnipeg as well, and asked really what motivated them to come along and get involved in this event. And we'll see that their answer at the end of this vlog. So stay tuned for that. This week, a couple from our church brought around some food that they'd made. We weren't expecting it, and it was such an encouragement that somebody else was thinking about us, especially wanting to relieve us in this time of COVID-19 when we're all at home and we can't be in groups of more than 5. Well, we'll see that as we respond, as IJM responds to the need around the world, how this theme of just reaching out with small acts of kindness can go a long way. And we've seen that especially as we've reached out for those with immediate needs during this time of COVID-19. And we've seen in the field that these simple acts of kindness have brought together our partners to help those in need across South Asia. So this year, IJM's team have been able to work closely with the central government to support thousands of vulnerable families and former bonded labourers. And this relationship was years in the making and has been especially crucial during the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic. In May and June alone, IJM and our casework partners were able to intervene in 538 cases where people from one particular state had been trafficked or been stuck in abusive work where they had migrated to. Altogether, we helped more than 9,000 people return to their homes safely or get the relief they needed during lockdown. And in total, IJM and our network of partners have provided relief to migrant labourers in 17 states during the pandemic. And we continue to support the central and state governments as the virus continues. These close relationships are a breakthrough for IJM's work and a great indicator of the credibility our staff and partners have built up. As we continue working with the Ministry of Rural Development, IJM will help review new proposals for relief projects and anti-trafficking initiatives in a number of states across the region. Well, secondly, IJM are reaching out with a near-term response, rescuing people now. And in Dominican Republic, on the 8th of October, the Dominican police there spearheaded a rescue operation in the Puerto Plata province of the country. Local public justice officials proactively collaborated to rescue 3 young children and arrest a German citizen. The 76-year-old German citizen was arrested after the police entered his home and found 3 minors and evidence there. He is currently being prosecuted for sexually exploiting the minors. The survivors, 2 Haitian girls and a Dominican boy ages 10 to 12 years old, were immediately taken to a safe home run by the Dominican Child Welfare to provide immediate crisis care and to evaluate next steps. IJM applauds the proactive, fast and coordinated response led by the Department of Human Trafficking, the Specialised Prosecutor's Office against smuggling of migrants and human trafficking, CONANI, Dominican Child Welfare Agency, and investigators who continue working hard to bring rescue and protection to children. Thirdly, IJM are doing a long-term response, continuing to partner with governments to protect the poor from violence. Last week, we officially launched the Project to Combat Trafficking in Persons, or TIP, in Romania with the Romanian government and the US Department of State TIP office. Now, I'm delighted because this is an area of the world that I lived in for 10 years, Central Europe, and working there in student ministry, but I saw many situations where obvious trafficking was happening. It was just so blatantly happening on the streets and in places in the downtown. So I'm so pleased that this is happening in Romania, and we have our office, IJM office there. This project will support the Romanian National Action Plan, US TIP Office recommendations and the OSEC guidance by supporting authorities and prosecutors in trafficking investigations, raising awareness and education on human trafficking to people who are vulnerable, and improving trauma-informed aftercare services for survivors for restoration. This is what Sean Cole, our Field Office Director, said there. Today, you are giving a clear signal that TIP will not go unpunished in Romania. It will not be tolerated, and by standing together, we can bring it to an end. It is a priority of this government, the Romanian people, the United States Department, and IJM. So we're now turning our attention back to our online benefit, Cherish More Precious Than Gold, on the 20th of November, where we're going to be hopefully raising enough funds for 12 rescues from initial investigation to immediate aftercare. So very exciting. We're all very excited. And so I spoke with my co-host at Cherish More Precious Than Gold, Marie Gomez from City News Winnipeg, and with one of our sponsors, Sean Humphreys from Humphreys Wealth Group. And I asked them what motivated them to get involved with our event, Cherished.
So the first thing that piqued my interest about Cherished is that it was geared towards Filipino children who are suffering through this crime. And for me, that really touched my heart because I have a lot of family and a really deep connection to my family back in the Philippines. And I just really know that children are so innocent and that they're not aware of what's going on a lot of the times. And I think, you know, to be subject to this crime is just, it doesn't make any sense. And for me, I was like, I want to be able to bring awareness to that issue and just let people know that this is happening because we need to pay attention to children, and often enough we're not, you know, giving them enough care in other senses. We think of traditional care like giving them food and a place to stay, but we really need to care for their emotional health as well.
Well, I think that one of the things that really profoundly impacted me is I actually read a book that the founder of IJM had written. And what came across very strongly for me was the importance of aftercare. Whatever program they were involved in, it wasn't just swooping in and going through the criminal justice system and getting a conviction. I mean, that's just the beginning of the story. The story really was, how are they supporting those victims to come out of that abuse and to eventually become fully functioning people who had gone through horrific things. So you realize very quickly that aftercare is critical. It's ongoing. You could have victims of sexual abuse or cyber, sex abuse that would need help for years and years. And so there's significant costs around that. And yet that's what you want to have happen at the end of the day, is that those people are transformed and they get the support they need, whether it's education, schooling, work opportunities, and just a protective place to grow and to be transformed. So I think the aftercare program and the funding for that is absolutely critical. That first piece of rescuing people, that's amazingly important. The aftercare is just critical.
Well, thank you, Marie and Sean, for just sharing why you got involved with Cherish More Precious Than Gold. And just to say that I just want to thank all our supporters and donors out there for continuing to walk with us and walk with those who are experiencing extreme difficulty at the moment because of COVID-19. It's hard enough here in Canada, isn't it? But obviously in places across the world where we work, it's even harder for people as they even struggle to get food on the table. So we just thank you for your continued support, and I look forward to seeing you in a few weeks again, and hopefully at Cherish More Precious Than Gold. Thank you. Bye-bye.